All right. Welcome back to the Wheelin' Racing channel. This is going to be a newer segment where we're going to do a community spotlight. You may have seen Adam in some of our workout videos for Tuesday nights, but we're going to go ahead and get to know him a little bit better. Adam, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yep, so I'm pretty new to the racing team. Been on here since I think about March. Live out in Waukee, work in accounting for Casey's, and within the last 2 years, I'd say I got really into running and ramping up the mileage and starting to focus on the longer stuff like marathons.
So, how did you start out running?
I kind of got tricked into it. I had a friend at the gym that did obstacle course racing, and at the time I was more of a meathead. But if you want to be good at obstacle course racing, it's really cross country guys that are good at lifting their body weight. So started running more, dropping muscle, and then pandemic happened and those all closed down. So just started running a lot more and started to like racing. So started with a 5K and I'm running marathons.
Yeah, and so speaking of the marathon, you got a pretty big one recording this on Wednesday, and the next Monday you've got Boston. How you feeling about that?
Really good. I've really ramped up the mileage and bigger workouts to hopefully increase my PB from my first marathon in Indy. So I set a pretty aggressive goal, I think, at a much hillier course, but I think the work's been put in and I feel pretty good about it.
What's your current PB right now?
258 was what I ran at my first one in Indianapolis.
Okay. And we'll get into some more details about the training going forward, but I kind of want to dive into what have you done outside of training to kind of get ready for Boston. I mean, it's obviously a big undertaking to try and set a PR in any manner. So
I think like all the little details matter, like getting the right amount of sleep, focusing on nutrition, your stretching, limiting stress, and all the little things that you can put in all the miles that you want, but if you're loaded up with stress, you're going to start getting injuries, or if you're not eating right, you're going to get injuries. You're not going to recover as fast. So just controlling the things that I can control.
absolutely. I think I was bringing that up because that's something I've seen, especially through like your social media right now, is you're definitely doing the like meal prepping correct, and all the little details, and also just the mindset thing. So another kind of key thing I've seen is that you're talking about the race. You're really getting like your student of the, especially Boston in particular. Um, what drove you to kind of go down that avenue of exploring the little things and working on that mindset? Was it one particular thing, or is it just something that you've grown into over time?
I think it mainly is because when I got back into running, everybody's like, that's bad for you. You're eventually going to get hurt, especially as you start getting up into like marathons. And if you study your gait and you run right, you're not going to get hurt. If you do the stretching, the mobility stuff, the little things that most people probably don't do and end up getting hurt, I think obviously it's healthier than what most people are doing.
Yeah, for sure. So you and I have similar builds, so we're able to kind of put some miles underneath us. And you recently switched to having Blake as your coach. You kind of hinted at you've been ramping up your training. What has kind of been your peak week, and then we'll kind of go into maybe some of your bigger workouts.
Yeah, so started with Blake, and my big ask was increase mileage, because I think that's where I really hit a wall in my first marathon, was when I got to 22, 23, 24 miles. My body was just like, what is this? I'd
Yeah.
never been on my feet that long. So if you really want to race a marathon, it doesn't start until 20 miles. So that was my ask when I started working with Blake. So our biggest week was 90 miles, and that was only because
Nice.
I started throwing in some doubles that weren't prescribed, but I don't think he really had too much of a problem with it. But I think I had about 7 weeks over 70 miles, which is seven more than I had for my first build-up, and my
Mhm.
longest run being 22 miles with 3x3 mile work within it.
Mm.
So a pretty big workout.
Yeah. I mean, I know the answer to this, but what was kind of the rules, we'll say, in order to get you to increase those mileages. Just what was some ask from Blake to you that you think were critical in terms of, and maybe this is something that you already had an idea going in, but just kind of was reiterated by Blake in order to get those miles up.
Yep, I think we just really went extremely polarized. I mean, your easy days should feel easy. And if you get done
Absolutely.
with an easy run and you're breathing hard, your hands are on your knees, and you really feel like you ran, then it's probably not an easy day. So go easy on the easy days and, swing hard on the workout days.
Love it. Yep, that's absolutely it's something that we practice as well, and I think it's there's a lot of ways to train, but I think that polarized training has its merits, and especially when you do it correct. A lot of people say they're polarized, but then they still take their easy days way too hard, and then it's like, I go hard on hard days, and then I go medium on easy days, and then at that point it just doesn't work as well. So good on you for finding that balance. It does take a lot of time for some people to realize they can go slower. It's not something that's inherently what you're going to try and think of to get better. I want to get better, I got to go faster, but it's not the case all the time. So that's good. Obviously Boston is a hilly course. It's a very unique race. Is there anything in particular that you did in this build-up that you would have maybe not done another marathon build-up just because it is Boston?
Yeah, I think first of all, I studied the course. So a lot of people say it's 5 downhill, flat, and then the Newton Hills, but it's really 5 downhill, a bunch of rolling hills, then the Newton Hills,
Yep.
and then more rolling hills. So I knew that, being out in Waukee, it's mostly flat. I went seeking for hills, whether it was down in Norwalk or Cumming or running out on U Avenue where I was getting 2,000 feet of gain on my long run. So
That's impressive, yeah.
my goal was really to get to Boston and make those hills seem easy.
Yep. No, that's good on you too. It sounds like you found the hills, which is good. I agree. Waukee's not exactly the hilliest area, and I saw some pretty good long runs out there on Warren over in Cummings. So past that, is there anything else you've kind of got? Are you excited about for Boston? Is there any place in particular you want to go visit, or I know there's tons of stuff for runners as well, like the Hyperion House or stuff like that. Anything in particular pique your interest? Meeting people in particular, or?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be cool to be around 30,000 people that really, really care about running. I mean, you go to another race and you're going to have people that are just there to finish. Like everybody at Boston qualified and ran really fast and are putting a lot of time into their training and kind of live, eat, breathe running. And that's kind of where I'm at in life. And it'll be fun to talk to those people all week. And I've never been to Boston, so we'll probably do the touristy things as well. But other things like shakeout runs with people like Tin Man Elite is going to be
there you go.
So maybe find Reed Fisher for a shakeout run, or I don't know.
Yeah, this should be fun. So once again, what is your PR? Oh, what is your goal for this race? Rather, sorry.
So I think going into it, it's scary putting a time out there, but I think I can do 2:53, and I came on 2:53 because that would qualify me for a New York Marathon and be a pretty good PB. So I think I can roll 6:30 pace.
Absolutely. So obviously you're aiming to possibly get a New York qualifier. Are there any other races that are on your radar for the future?
So I actually signed up for Chicago before I signed up for Boston because I didn't think I was going to make Boston. Just on the time cutoff can be anywhere from 7 minutes to this year was 0 minutes. So
yep, there you go.
I think Chicago will be another opportunity to hit that 2:53. But to be honest, I'm hoping for something a little bit faster in Chicago as well.
Yep. So you're a marathon man then? You got any other shorter distances in your mind, or?
Oh, I'll be racing everything from 1 mile to
there we go.
This year.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again for your time. Is there anything last minute you want to throw out there? Any tidbits you want to advice for other Boston people that might be able to see this before the race?
Yeah, I think it's just like every podcast that I've listened to said, you got to just control yourself and run your race.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's easy to be around all those fast people. You got the first 5 downhill, and you look down at your watch and you're rolling at like 5:45 pace. That's probably not going to do you very well towards the end. At least if your goal pace is 6:30 like me. So just gotta run your race and get settled in and
Absolutely.
enjoy it.
Patience is key, and you can't forget to enjoy it for sure. We only get so many marathons a year, but our body will allow. So that's good. Well, thanks again for this call. I just wanted to give a little community spotlight, and I think you're a great person to spotlight right here before Boston. So thanks again.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video with Adam. Now we're going to go ahead and kind of transition into our kind of normal setup. So this is going to be me on my Saturday long run workout. This is just due to me coupling the 2 workouts together. Last week was a transition week, so there wasn't a lot of heavy workouts, and didn't have a ton of hours as well. It was just a 13-hour and 18-minute week. I took Monday off, so that was nice, and then kind of jumped back into it on Tuesday. Had a pretty good session in the morning, and actually in the evening as well. That session was with Blake. He was doing 6-mile repeats, and I was just kind of carrying him along where I could, doing 2 by 1300, and then 2 by 9-4, and then 2 by 4-4-2. So got quicker as we went, and so I did a little bit less distance on each one of those. So good session. And then the rest of the week was kind of up and down. Nothing really to note in terms of workouts. Really the only thing was on Saturday, this long run, where I did about 20 miles, and it was a 45 minutes up, 45 minutes steady, 45 minutes down. I was lucky enough to have my little brother, Jacob, do some filming, so that was fun. And then, that was kind of the week. It was really nothing too crazy. This week will be a little bit more in terms of training. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't seen last week's recap of Oceanside 70.3, go ahead and watch that and enjoy this post-workout recap. Today we had a long run. 45, 45, 45. So 45 minutes up, 45 minutes steady, and I'm cooling down 45 minutes. Warmed up with Austin, pretty chill. Decided to do an out and back path for the workout. It was like 2.92 round trip. So for 45 minutes, I averaged 5:45 per mile. I'm not sure what I was distance-wise yet. Probably a little over 8. I did my math right. So cooling down now. Had the little bro on the camera, Jacob. So shout out to Jacob. Nice long cool down now. So that should be it. Thanks again for watching.